little bit about me. I have more than 20 years experience in leadership roles in the high-tech industry. I worked always in high-tech since the moment I finished my studies. I actually went to the army for almost 2 years after I completed my studies. And in the army, I also served in information technology roles. I have 12 years of experience in different business roles, such as pre-sales, sales, and of course, customer success. I also mentor, so I have 7 years experience in mentoring. I'm also volunteering at Gvahim as a mentor. I'm coaching managers, pre-sales, and CSMs. I'm fluent in 4 languages. That's from my past, as you know. And I worked in different high-tech companies such as NICE, 888, Panaya, and Verbit. And today I am an independent consultant. I provide consulting services mostly around customer success. I help startups and high-tech companies in different challenges around customer success. If it's to build their customer success teams, if it's to improve their processes, if it's to create better infrastructure, tools, KPIs, and so on. We'll talk about it later. Today, this is what I do. I'm independent from 2022. So it's almost 2 years, 1 year and a half. Okay, so first of all, instead of explaining what is customer success, I want to first explain why there is a need for this role, for the role of the customer success, and what is it about. So to understand the role of customer success, I think the best way is to explain the difference in the way we are selling software today. This change happened with Salesforce. You probably heard about this company, Salesforce.com. They invented the software as a service. Until then, I think it was in the early 2000s. Before that, software was served as a perpetual software. So when you buy it, you have it for forever, and you just need to pay for maintenance every year. Salesforce invented the fact that you can buy software as a service. So you buy a subscription. You don't need to install anything on your servers. You connect to a website with a username and password. All the servers, all the infrastructure, the technical infrastructure is on the cloud. So there is no software actually installed on the servers in the company. And you buy a subscription. Usually it's for 12 months, sometimes more, sometimes less. And the advantage of it is like if you're going to a gym, right? When you buy a subscription to the gym, after 12 months, you don't have to renew, you can leave and you can choose another gym, and that's it. So it has a lot of advantages. It's called SaaS, by the way, software as a service. The main advantage of that is that, first of all, it's cheaper for customers. So you can decide faster if you want to purchase the service because you need a lower budget. So the time to take a decision to pay for something smaller that is less budget takes less time. So you can make a decision faster, and you can switch. You can switch to a different vendor after 12 months. You're not married to the company. You can switch to someone that is cheaper, that provides better service than the company you chose from the beginning. And this is how software as a service was born. Now I'll explain why customer success is relevant here. And this is when customer success was born, a few years after the software as a service was born. What happened is that these companies found out that you need to make sure that your customers are happy, because if they're not happy, they will leave you after 12 months, okay? They will leave you for the competition. So you need to make sure your customers are happy, and to make sure your customers are happy, you need someone to take care of your customers. And this is why we need the customer success. The customer success manager is in charge of managing a customer from the moment they purchased a subscription to your software. And those companies also understood that after you start selling your solution, after a few years, you already reached most of the market. most of the addressable market. And now most of your revenue is not going to come from new customers. It's going to come from existing customers. So most of the company revenue, 80%, as you can see here, is coming from existing customers. What does it mean? They renew, so it's revenue, but also they're growing. So you can sell them more services. You can upsell. I don't know if you know these terms, upsell, cross-sell. So you can sell them more services. You can sell to their different sites. Okay, if you're selling to an enterprise company such as Shell or General Electric, they have multiple sites. So you sell, for example, to Shell in the UK, but they also have a site in Holland. So you're going to sell also to Holland. So this is called expansion or growth within the same customer. So companies understand that most of the revenue after a few years of a new company is going to come from existing customers. And that's why you need to have someone that is in charge of making sure those customers are staying. Okay, so it's in charge of retention and growth. That's why also the role of customer success has seen an exponential growth in demand. We saw that a few years ago, 100% increase in demand. Now it's not growing so fast because of the market situation, but it's still in high demand. And of course, it's a good entry point also for Olim. I'll explain later why, but you can already guess. In Israel, most of the high-tech industry is not working with customers in Israel. Most of the high-tech industry is selling globally. Most of the customers are not located in Israel. They are located in different countries. So one of the important skills for a customer success manager is languages. Of course, English is a must, and other languages are an advantage. That's why I managed to work in different high-tech companies with customers as customer success managers. I worked with French customers, Spanish customers, South American customers, of course, American, and all over Europe. I work basically with all the world, the entire world, thanks to the languages I speak. Guys, feel free to ask questions, okay? You're welcome to stop me if you have any questions. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about the process. So the subscription, as I mentioned, the customers will buy for usually 12 months, maybe more. The process is very, let's say, a traditional process where you have a marketing team that will generate leads, and then you'll have a sales team that will convert those leads into customers. So they will do the sales process. They will present the product, the solution to the customers. In many cases, there will be a POC where the customer can play with your solution. It's very easy when it's SaaS. You don't have to install anything. So you can give them access to your cloud solution. They will access it via a browser with username and password, and they can play with your solution. So usually the sales process will include some kind of POC, proof of concept. And once the sales have managed to convince the customer to purchase, then the customer success role begins. Nikita, who is the person in the structure of the company deciding the direction of the customer's growth? I hope I understand the question. Let me try to answer. And if I didn't manage, then you can provide me more details. So basically, you have the entire company will have to decide on the growth, on which direction to take the growth. First of all, we have the product team. The product team will define the strategy of the product. And the product team needs to define in the product how you address new markets, how you sell to new customers, what can you offer to new customers. Maybe you can add services that attract new markets. I don't know, for example, localization in different languages. And product will also decide how you can grow customers with more services you can offer them. So they need to be in touch with customers and understand what's the direction they should take with the product to add more services and to bring more value to the customers. So product is involved. Of course, R&D is going to develop the requirements coming from product. And of course, the customer success group is also in charge of bringing insights from the market to the company, explaining, okay, we have 10 customers in this industries that if we develop for them this and this capability, we will be able to double the subscription for them. Okay, for example, so customer success will bring insights from the market, from what's happening with their customers in order to decide which direction to take. I hope that answered your question, Nikita. You're welcome to write me in the chat or to just unmute yourself and ask. Okay, you're welcome.
Sorry,
yes.
just a second.
Yes.
You see, I was working in marketing in American company for a couple of years, but that was not a SaaS company. It was engineering construction company, and I see that customer success could be some kind of feedback loop for product development.
Definitely.
But at the same time, this person is very dependent on the capabilities of the team who is developing the product. And and for me, it is very interesting to understand how the product development team and the customer success team are aligning their actions, because I think that maybe this is the most difficult problem in the management of these issues.
Yes, definitely, I agree. That's why usually customer success will not work directly with the development team, but they will work with the product team. The product team is the one in charge of the strategy around the product, how the solution will develop, to which direction, which features, which capabilities should we add or should we change in the product. So product have the wider view, and they will prioritize and decide according to the customer success input. And then they will create a work plan for the development team. Make sense?
So, yeah, that of course that makes sense, but it means that the product development team goes first. The customer success manager is communicating with the clients, and he could collect the requests of the clients and report those requests to the product development team. But
product management team.
Yeah, product management team. But the targets of the customer development are decided by the product development.
I didn't understand the last question. What is the customer development?
But as I understand that that finally the product development team are those people who decide the targets of customers development, right?
You mean of the development team? Yes, they decide the direction, the priority. Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so once the sales completed the sales and sold to the customer will sign the contract. This is where the customer success is taking full ownership on the customer. And the role of customer success, as I mentioned, is retaining and growing the customers. So as you understand, this role is very crucial. Yes, it's called roadmap. That's true, Kirill. And I saw Alex asking, I can't see a difference in customer success specialists and the project managers who work as a project and didn't as these things. Okay, I'll explain the difference in a moment. You'll see there is a huge difference, because customer success are going to be measured also on a revenue. They're going to be managed on dollars. I'll explain it in a moment. One of the main fears of a customer success manager is called churn. Have you heard about this term? Churn is when a customer leaves, okay? After those 12 months, they don't renew. And we don't want customers to churn. This is one of our biggest fears as customer success. A good, I would say a healthy churn rate would be 5%. In many companies, it's higher. And this is where they start changing the strategy of customer success and understand how we can retain those customers. It's called the leaking bucket. So you have customers buying, but you have on the other side of the bucket customers leaving. And we want the bucket to be fuller and not have customers leaving us. So churn is a big issue, and it's something that customer success are measured on. I'll explain it now, that customer success salary usually is divided into two, similar to sales. You have a base salary and you have a commission, okay? It's not like that in every company, but this is the main, I would say the standard, the most common way is customer success will have a base salary. Usually it's 70%, represents 70% of their entire OTE, of the entire salary, and 30% is commission. And the commission is based on the target, and the target is usually the retention or the growth. So for example, if you have customers that represent $1 million subscription for 1 year, your target will be next year to grow it by 5%, by 10%. So next year you have to bring from those customers $1,100,000. Okay, that would be one way. Another way would be to measure you on churn or different KPIs, but the most common KPI is revenue. Okay, the role of customer success has become a business role. Okay, and that's why in many companies, customer success will be reporting to the CRO, to the Chief Revenue Officer. Okay, very quickly, I'll explain the difference between B2B and B2C. B2B is usually what we deal with when we are customer success. We work with businesses. We are selling to businesses, okay? Companies like Salesforce sell to other companies. And B2C is business to customer. It's the end person, like Netflix. Netflix is the subscription is personal, okay? It's an end user. It's not a company. I have a Netflix account, okay? Usually companies that are B2C, they don't need customer success managers. Usually customer success managers work in companies that work in a B2B market. That was a very short explanation. It's not very important. Okay, so what does a CSM do? CSMs do a lot of things, okay? But I'll start with the two main things that we have to do, okay? Our two main goals. The first of all, we need to make sure that our customers understand the value they get from our solution. They are paying $10,000 for the solution and they want to gain more, okay? They want to gain more of that. So we need to make sure that they get value. They can get value in terms of reducing their cost, okay? So maybe my solution is going to save them money or save them resources. Another option is that my solution will increase their revenue, so they will earn more money thanks to my solution. And the third reason they might purchase my service is risk. For example, cyber solutions, they are there to reduce the risk of cyber attacks. Okay, so this is not saving me money or saving me directly money or increasing my revenue. It's saving the company from cyber attacks. Okay, so these are the main reasons for purchasing a solution. What is very important here is the CSM is doing here kind of a sales job to make sure the customers sees the value of using our solution. If they don't see value in using our solution, they will churn, okay? They won't invest money for another year if they don't see value, okay? If they don't get value from our solution. So this is one very important thing. And we will do activities all around the year, all those 12 months, we will be in touch with our customers and make sure they get value from our solution. The CSM role doesn't start at the renewal point. It starts from day one when the customer signs the contract, and it's all the entire year of the subscription. We're going to be in touch with the customer and make sure they get value. And of course, as I mentioned, we are going to try to increase the revenue from our customers. There is a KPI called net revenue retention. It's how much money we are bringing from our customers overall. So for example, as I mentioned before, I have $1 million customers representing $1 million per year. And I want to grow it to more than $1 million. So I will have a target to grow it. So that's my second activity. I need to also make sure I sell more services to my customers. So either during the 12 months, I can sell them more services, so they will subscribe to more services during those 12 months, or when they renew for more money because they need more users, because they need more services from my product, and so on. Okay, so I need to make sure not only that I provide them value, but I provide them more and more value, so they pay more and more every year. Okay, any questions before I move on? Okay. So how does the life cycle of a customer look like? So basically, there is a first step that is called onboarding. Usually these are a few weeks when we onboard, the CSM onboards the customer to the solution they purchased. I will drill down into that and explain what does it mean, but this is a short period of time where we have more interaction with the customer because we need to make sure that they know how to use the platform. So we will train them, we will set up their account, we will do whatever is required in order for them to start using our product. And after the onboarding, we are moving to the ongoing phase. Ongoing phase is basically forever until they churn, okay? And during the ongoing phase, there will be renewals happening every year or every 2 or 3 years. The ongoing phase is longer and it's less structured than the onboarding. In onboarding, we have very clear, usually, steps we have to take. In ongoing, it's much more chaotic and we are more managing it, let's say, according to the situation with the customer. I'll talk about both of them, don't worry, I'll drill down into it. Okay, so onboarding. Onboarding means, first of all, that we're going to meet with our customer. It's called kickoff. We're kicking off the relationship with them. Usually it's 30 minutes to 1 hour session with our customer where we are going to present ourselves. We're going to present what they purchased. We're going to talk about what are their goals using our solution. This is where we set the expectations, and this is where we defined what are the success criteria or the KPIs for them to be happy, satisfied with our solution, okay? For example, one of the questions we will ask them during the kickoff is, what are your goals for using my solution? Okay, what do you want to achieve with Monday? Monday is an example of a solution. What do you want to achieve with Salesforce? What do you want to achieve with HiBob? And so on. Okay, before the kickoff meeting, usually I will make some homework as a CSM. I will learn about my customer. I want to know what they purchased. I will ask the salesperson that sold them what were the challenges during the sales process. Why did they purchase? Did they purchase something special that we need to develop for them, and so on and so forth. And then I'll be joining the kickoff much more prepared. Another activity I have to do as a CSM is customizing the customer system. So sometimes I need to set up the system, do some changes in the way the system works for them according to their needs. I might need to integrate with other platforms that the customer has. For example, if they're using if they're purchasing Salesforce, so maybe I need to integrate with their ERP system and so on. So I need to understand if I need to integrate with other systems. I will sometimes run some tests and review with them the test results. For example, when I worked for Verbit is a transcription company. So we did with them the first weeks, we were doing a test of one transcription to show them how it looks like. And if they gave the green light, we would implement it for all their transcriptions. We will deploy the solution. Yes, Rachel?
Next question about that. I was just wondering about the tech savviness level when it comes to CS manager. I imagine it varies from role to role, but based on everything that you're saying, it seems like you really need to be able to navigate the product really effectively.
Yes, that's an excellent question. I'll talk about it later. So bear with me a little bit more and I'll explain about it. Very good question. We will go live, so we will open them the access to the solution so they can start working with it. We will train them. Everything that I put in bold is a must activity. All the rest are depending on the solution. So not always I will have to customize the solution. Not always I will have to integrate it, okay? It depends on the solution, but I will have to kick off, I will have to go live, and then we'll have to train them. We will track the adoption and we will check in the reports what's happening with the usage. We will do some troubleshooting if there are some issues. For example, integration doesn't work, something doesn't work in the system, we'll troubleshoot. We also need to get an acknowledgement of the value they're getting. Okay, after a few weeks of usage, we will check with them that they are happy, that they're getting value, that they are satisfied with the results. Okay, so we will check the value. It's very, very important. And that's it about the onboarding. Okay, any more questions about it? So I'm moving on to ongoing. So as I mentioned, onboarding is very structured. In every company you will meet that has already a customer success team, they have a very structured onboarding. They have slide decks with how to do the kickoff, what you need to do in order to set up the account, how to do the training. When it comes to ongoing, it's more chaotic because it depends on the situation. Okay, so during the ongoing phase, we will have several activities that we will be doing, not necessarily in the order that I put them here in the slide. It's just can happen anytime. Okay, we have the renewal, of course, but the renewal is 12 months after the first contract. We will have adoption. Adoption is when the customer adopts the solution. And this is very important for us. If they adopt it and they use it, it's a good indication that they will renew. If they don't use it, I don't think they will renew. Okay, it makes sense. If you're buying a subscription to the gym and you're not going to the gym, then why would you renew? Okay, so adoption is very important. Adoption is one of the most important things that the CSM have to check. The SaaS solutions have a very big advantage. You can see what your customer is doing. You see what they're using. You see how many times they're logging in, which features they're using, which features they're not using. So you can use it to your advantage to understand what's the level of adoption and guide them to adopt more solutions, more features, and take action during the year and not wait for the renewal point to find out that your customer is churning. Okay, you can identify if there is an adoption issue early in the life cycle and deal with it, handle it. Okay, so adoption is very important. Expansion, I mentioned it before, it's selling them more services. You can sell them more users. You can sell them more features. You can sell to another business unit within the same company. Okay, so there is here an expansion that is happening. It's great because expansion is a good indication of health of a healthy customer. That means that I will renew them for more money. And you have also escalations. Escalations is where they're not happy with something and they will do an escalation and complain that something is not working and you need to fix it. Escalations are also under the customer success responsibility to make sure customers are getting solutions to their problems. And the last one is the advocacy. Advocacy is customer success managers are required many times to get their customers to advocate for them. So for example, refer to other customers, write a success story and put it on the website to say, okay, we are happy with your solution, we recommend it, we used it, and it saved us 20% of our time. We managed to increase our revenue and so on. So advocacy talks about that, okay? About getting your customers to advocate for you, to speak up and talk about how good is your solution. In different medias, it can be LinkedIn, it can be on your website, it can be in a conference. just as a speaker, okay? It can be in many ways. Okay, one more thing I want to explain about the customer success role. I think now it's a bit more clear what you are expected to do, okay? You're expecting to do all those things that I mentioned before. It means that you're going to meet your customers on a regular basis. And usually a typical CSM will manage between 20 to 50 customers. It depends on the size of the customers. If customers are smaller, you'll have more customers to manage because usually you will have a book of business that represents between $1 to $2 million per year. ARR is annual recurring revenue. That's what it means. So if your customers are bigger, you'll have less customers because they represent more money, okay? So you have, and you need to spend more time with them. The bigger your customers are, the more work you will have, okay? You will need to talk to more people, you will have to work with more users and so on. So it represents around 150 contacts. And here is the workload. So as I mentioned, you will have a lot of interactions with your customers as a customer success managers. It can be emails, it can be calls, it can be status meetings, it can be QBRs, which is quarterly business reviews. I'll explain about it a little bit more. Yes, I see there is a question from Kirill. Product team feedback loop is a part of advocacy too. Yes, definitely. Agreed. So as you can see, you will have a lot of interactions with your customers. Some of them are interactions that are part of a routine, like status meeting, like business reviews, and so on. And some of them are ad hoc, okay? There is an issue, you need to jump on the call with your customer. So every week you will be in contact with around 40 to 90 people. You have a lot of interactions, okay, per week with your customers. Some of it can be automated, by the way, okay? There are some automated emails and tools that can help you to automate it. Of course, depending on the situation, on the context and on the importance of your customer. Okay, what skills are required for a customer success manager? Anyone wants to guess? What do you think?
Sorry, can we go back a little bit?
Yes.
Can you tell something about your dependencies? Your dependencies as a professional in customer success, because when you are onboarding a client, you're dependent on the product development team, and you're highly dependent, I guess, on the instructional design, because the adoption must be very dependent on the instructions that the client gets.
So Nikita, that's, yes, sorry, continue.
And after that, when the client is starting to use the software, who helps you to understand what is the real issue of the low adoption? Because I think that sometimes the client or the representative of the client may have no desire to share everything. He can say that you sell us this software and we want it just to work, and for some reason it doesn't work for them, and you have to figure out why and how do you do that.
Okay, Nikita, it's a very, very good question. It's actually one of the challenges as a CSM. So I will divide it into two answers. The first thing is that the CSM works with everyone in the company, everyone. You will work with marketing, with product, with R&D, with sales, with finance, in many cases. So you work with everyone in the company, and a healthy company will take into consideration that everyone is measured on retention. on retaining and growing from customers. Remember, I said 80% of the revenue of a company comes from existing customers. So the entire company should work on that. Okay, everyone needs to care about the fact that customers will stay customers and will grow. Okay, so the CSM is basically working with everyone and needs to orchestrate all the different teams that need to help. Okay, in smaller companies, you have less people, so you will do more work of your own. So for example, you will have to provide technical support to your customer because you have a small team. In bigger companies, you will have different layers. You will have support, and even support, you can have 3 tiers. You have first tier, second tier, third tier, according to the complexity of the problem. You might have professional services that will help you build a customized solution for your customer. You might have in R&D a dedicated team that will be dedicated only to fix bugs in your product. It really depends on the size of the company, on the complexity of the solution, and so on. But in a healthy company, just to give you a high level understanding, everyone needs to help the customer success managers. This is a healthy company. Everyone understands the importance of retaining customers. Sometimes they will not agree with you, okay? Sometimes you will come with an example of a customer that is going to churn if you don't develop for them a specific feature, and management will decide that we're not developing and we are okay with this customer churning because we are taking into consideration that we have other customers that are more important and we need to develop for them features that will bring us more money, okay? That will be a strategic decision. But your role as a customer success manager is to bring all those insights from the field to your management team, and they will decide where to focus the priority and the resources. Sometimes they will not agree with you, but that's part of, you know, that's part of the game. It's part of how we work in high tech. But the most important thing is to see that there is that the company is open to listen, and there is a process of feedback coming from the field internally to product, to R&D, to management, to marketing, and so on. I can share with you a story from working at Panaya, where we encountered in the market a need for supporting a new feature. And the first time we raised it, management decided not to develop it. They said there is not enough market or not enough return on investment for it. We came back with the same idea 2 years later, and they decided to develop it because 2 years later it was the right timing. Okay, so it really depends on the bigger picture. Does that answer your question, Nikita?
Yes, of course, but your answer makes me to ask one more question.
Okay.
How do you decide what can you promise to your client?
You cannot promise anything until you get a commitment. You must get a commitment from your company, and then you can promise. Otherwise, don't promise. It's very dangerous, very, very dangerous. What you can promise them is that you will give the feedback to your management and you will explain the importance, but you cannot promise something to be developed in the product if you don't get a commitment from your management.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
I guess that's when you are working as an experienced customer success manager, you are keeping the track of all events and decisions inside your client, and you have to keep the same track of events and decisions inside your own company.
Yes, definitely.
Because
you have to keep track of everything, and by the way,
you depend on everything.
Yes. The CSM, that's why I love this role. The CSM role is really core in the company. It's in the middle of everything. It touches everything. That's why I love this role. And also it's very diverse. We'll talk about the skills that are required, and it's one of the things that I really like. It requires different types of skills, and I think it makes it very diverse. So I'll just read a little bit about what you guys answered about what skills are required. So communication, for sure, I agree, Alex. Shmuel wrote time management. Definitely, time management is one of the challenges in customer success because we saw that we're managing many customers in parallel. Ability to build strong relation with customers, ensuring high retention rates. Definitely, Nikita, I agree. Empathy, of course, very important. Positive and communicative person. Yes, the SILA interaction, patience, analytical, correct. Shmuel, tech savvy, to navigate and get users through the product and to navigate CRM and other systems using tracking and service the customer. Yes, it's true. I'll talk about it in a moment. Their level of technical skills is diverse depending on the product. I'll talk about it. Effective communication and building trust and adoption bond using it. Kirill, yes, correct. Integrity, Nikita, definitely. Okay. So you mentioned a lot of skills. Let's review them. So first of all, I put a lot of things that you mentioned under people oriented. Okay, you need to be empathetic, you need to know how to communicate with people, you need to bond with your customers. Some customer success managers become friends of their customers, okay? That's the highest level of relationship. But you really need to be a people person. You need to know how to speak to different cultures, different people, how to build a strong relationship. It's not a sales role where it's transactional, where you sell and then you move on to the next. Here, it's a long-term relationship, okay? You need to build a strong and good relationship, healthy relationship that will help you create that bonding and, of course, retain your customer. So that's one skill that is super important. The second one is sales-oriented. As I mentioned, many customer success are measured by the retention and the growth they bring from their customers. And we, in many companies, are in charge of negotiating with the customer the price of the renewal, okay? The amount of the renewal and the upsell that we're going to do. So we need also to know how to negotiate, and we need to have sales skills. Not in every customer success role you will have that, but this is the future. This is where most companies are going. I'll talk about it in a moment, the differences, the different flavors of customer success roles. Management skills. So someone spoke about project management. Definitely, we need to be able to manage different customers, manage different steps in the onboarding. We need to have management skill. That's why it's called customer success manager, okay? We need to know how to manage, and it's kind of a project management role, but it has much more, as we mentioned, okay? You need also to have sales skills and people skills. And one of the advantages that you guys have is the languages, okay? High-tech companies in Israel don't sell to Israeli customers. If they do, it's the smallest market. It's very small. It's usually not what we're going to focus on. We're going to sell to different countries around the globe, and languages are super important. You will see in many job description that English native is a must, or at least a high level of English, okay? But any other language is an advantage. And now let's talk about the technical skills. I put it as a question mark because it really depends on the solution that you are the CSM for. The solution can be very complex technically, but it can also be very simple. I don't know which solutions you encounter during your career, but for example, if you take a look at solutions like Monday is a project management solution. It's not very complex. You don't need a long training in order to know how to use it. It's very intuitive. So it doesn't require very advanced technical skills. But if you are CSM for a cyber company, for a cyber solution, you might need to be an expert in cyber because you need to talk to your customer in their terminology, in their language, okay? So you have a variety of different levels of technical skills. Of course, it's an advantage. The more technical you are, the more advantage you have because it opens to you more doors in terms of options of companies you can work for. But it's not a must, okay? The other skills that I mentioned are a must. This one depends on the company you are being interviewed for. okay? And also depending the level. Sometimes it's enough to have a little technical skills, and sometimes you need to be much more advanced. Okay, so now let's talk about how to find your ideal customer success role. So I would like to talk about 3 points you should consider. First of all, the maturity of the company you want to join. Second, the complexity of the solution. I spoke about it a little bit when I spoke about technical skills. And the third thing is transferable skills and your professional passion. Transferable skills is your past, is what experience you have, which skills you already have, okay? I'll talk about it in a moment. Let's first talk about the company maturity. What does it mean? It means that the stage of the company impacts directly what does the CSM do in the company. Some companies, startups, don't even have CSMs, okay? When they start, the first years of the company, they're focusing on selling. They're not focusing on retention, okay? They need to develop the solution. They need to start selling. They will do beta, alpha, and they start early adopters and so on. So in early stages, the CSM role doesn't exist. And later on, when you start having customers that subscribe to your solution, then you will start having customer success. At the beginning, at the early stages, the customer success will be a jack of all trades. What does it mean? It means that the customer success will do basically everything. They will provide onboarding, training, support. Okay, something doesn't work, you don't have a support team. The CSM is doing the support. They will have to troubleshoot the issue and work with R&D to fix it, okay? So it requires more technical skills usually at this stage, and it will be more focused on onboarding and project management and training. The more the company grows and has more and more customers, it will switch from a technical support role to a real traditional CSM role that I mentioned before, that includes also sales capabilities, retention, upselling, cross-selling, and then we become more the trusted advisor. And we have less a need for technical capabilities because support will handle the issues, the technical issues, and we will handle more the business side of the customer success role, okay? So the smallest the company is, the CSM role is all around. The biggest is you will have more dedicated roles. So for example, if we take companies like HiBob or Monday that have already a lot of customers, they even have in customer success different roles. They have customer success that handle small customers, and they have customer success that handle bigger customers, enterprise customers. They will have professional services. They will have different tiers in support. Okay, Kaltura also is another example of such company. Okay, so in bigger companies, you will have a lot of variety of CSM roles that are divided by tiers of customers. In smaller companies, the CSM role will be a one-man show that does everything. Yes, Kirill, so true. In the small B2B e-commerce software company, I've been a pre-sale specialist, but mixing CSM and tech support roles. Yes, definitely, Kirill, it's correct. Yes. Okay, so the company maturity is one of the things you should consider when you're looking for a role to understand what does it mean to be a CSM in your company. You can even ask the interviewer, what is the CSM measured on? How does the day-to-day look like? Okay. In some companies, by the way, you have CSMs that are doing only onboarding and training, and you have CSMs that are doing only renewal and retention and upsell, okay? So really you have different flavors of CSMs according to the maturity of the company. The second criteria you should take into consideration is the complexity of the solution. So I have here two axes. The first one is is it a simple solution or a complex solution? And here is how much time do the users using your solution spend in the platform? Do they spend a lot of time, or do they spend a little time during their day? Okay, so I'll give you some examples to illustrate it. For example, Google Workspace will be a simple solution because it's very easy to use it, right? You don't need a training or maybe training for 5 minutes. It's very simple, it's very intuitive, and you use it for a long time, for many hours during the day. It's always open, you always use it, so it's a high percent of key users' time. So it's a valuable commodity, okay? Another example here is the gadget. The gadget is Monday that I mentioned before. It's a project management solution. It's simple to use, no need for a long training, no need for technical skills to use it, but you don't use it all day long. You use it for a few minutes per day to update your tasks in the project, and that's it. Okay, so it's considered a gadget. Complex solutions can be Verbit that I mentioned before. It's transcription, so it's a specialized tool. It means that only someone that is a specialist in transcription knows how to talk the language. It's not necessarily that complex, but you need to understand the terminology, you need to understand your customer world in order to be able to talk to them. You might need a training as a CSM that joins this company to learn about the terminology of the transcription world. So this is a specialized tool, and expert platform is similar, but it's where users spend a lot of time in the platform. For example, HiBob. HiBob is a HR, human resource solution. So it's complex because it's aimed for specific users that are HR users, and they use it many hours per day. So the solution complexity also can impact your decision, because if, for example, you are not a technical person, you will choose to work for companies that have a simple solution. If you're a technical person, you can definitely learn these platforms in a short time and become a CSM in those companies. Okay, that's one of the criteria you should look at. Fintech services platform like Pioneer, I would say that Pioneer is mostly working with B2C, right, Kirill? I think it's mostly B2C.
No, completely opposite. We work for
B2B. Okay,
yeah,
so
mostly.
I think that fintech might be around a specialized tool. What do you think? I think it's specialized
Yeah,
in
probably.
fintech, and
It's
it's
not a
not a lot
gadget.
of not a lot of time of the users. So it should be a specialized tool, I believe. I know Pioneer as a B2C. That's why I asked you. Also B2C or B2B.
Maybe in the very beginning, but now we only focus B2B.
Okay, thanks. Okay, any more questions about the complexity? Okay, so I will continue. The last criteria is the one that I love the most, because this is how I moved from my previous career to my customer success career. My 13 first years of my career were in information systems. I was an ERP expert, ERP and CRM expert, and I transferred those skills to my CSM role. I joined Panaya. Panaya has a SaaS solution for ERP. So I joined them as an ERP expert, and I learned at Panaya what does it mean to be a customer success manager. I learned all the business skills of communication, negotiation, and everything. I came as an expert in my domain, and I learned the business side of things. So what I mean by transferable skills is, are you an expert in an area that you can bring to your next job? For example, are you an expert in music? Then you can work for a SaaS company that sells solution in the music domain. Are you an expert in law? Are you a lawyer? You can work for companies that are providing solutions for law domain, and so on and so forth. Are you a marketing expert? You can work for companies like AppsFlyer or Oribi that are delivering solutions for marketing. Okay, so you can choose which area according to your experience that you would like to work for, and it will be very helpful. Many companies look for CSMs that have experience in the domain they are focused on. Okay, this is how I joined Panaya, and this is how many people join their first CSM role. When they don't have experience in CSM, they do have experience in a domain that is relevant for the solution. Any question about it? By the way, there is a solution today for everything, so I'm sure you can find a solution that is related to your domain of expertise. If it's education, languages, sports, nutrition, there is a solution for everything.
I'm so sorry for interrupting. Just
No problem.
talking about this case. I came from tire industry, from Michelin company, and I was in the marketing department before. I worked with marketing and events, and I worked with clients, but it was B2B clients for sure. And for now, I'm really curious to know what the companies could be relevant for me here in Israel.
Okay, excellent. So there is a website that you can look at that will show you all the high-tech companies in Israel, and you can search by industry and by domain. I will send it to you in the chat at the end. Okay, so what I recommend you to check when you are considering a customer success role. So first of all, what we already mentioned, does it require technical capabilities or not? Do you have technical capabilities? Do you want to use your technical capabilities at work? How agile are you? How adaptable are you? The smallest company you will join, you will need to be more agile because things are chaotic. You will have to switch between different roles. The CSM is doing a bit of everything. So if it's hard for you to adapt with changes, it might be better for you to choose a bigger company that doesn't have so many changes and doesn't have so many gray areas. That's the same if you work well in a chaos or not. If you want to make an impact, you might want to work in a smaller company where you make more impact as a one person in a smaller team than working as one person in a very big company where the impact will be smaller. Are you leaning more towards support roles or not? If it's more support, then we mentioned companies that are smaller where you will be doing more support at the beginning. The maturity of the company, as I mentioned. How are your communication skills and your experience? So if you're more technical, for example, and you're not looking for working a lot with customer facing, then maybe you would go with the role that is more in the onboarding phase, and then it's more it's a shorter relationship with the customer. After the onboarding, they move on to another customer success manager. And do you need processes and structure? Again, it's the same. It's related to the maturity of the company. And also, do you like sales? If you like sales roles, then you should lean towards a customer success role that is more business oriented and less technical oriented. And the last thing I recommend, I call it fall in love. It's basically what happened to me when I joined Panaya. I was an ERP expert. I saw the product during the interviews and I fell in love with it. I saw that the product could solve my issues as an ERP expert. And I said, I want this product for me because it was so amazing. And that's how I decided to join the company. If you like the product, if you find passion in the product, in the solution that the company sells, then it will be a very great entry point for you. Because first of all, you will be able to talk about it passionately in your interview, but also for you to be happy to work for a company that you like their product. Let me check what do we have in the chat. Since CSM roles are quite customer facing, is the position expected to be negatively affected by AI at all? Very good question, Moshe. So right now, there is no expectation to be negatively affected, but there is an expectation for you to be more effective in your work using AI. We use AI already today in CSM roles. For example, when writing an email to a customer, I use AI to help me write the email, to make it more convincing, to check the English or whatever. We use it. We use it for different activities. If you learn how to use AI to make your work more effective, then you'll be a more successful CSM. It will not replace you. I saw today a LinkedIn post with someone having a conversation with AI that represents a CSM, and it could replace very, very simple scenarios where the product is super simple and the customer has a very simple scenario. But in those cases, also the revenue from those customers is very small. And usually a company will not invest in a CSM for a small customer. They invest CSMs for bigger customers. So right now it doesn't look like it will replace, but you must embrace it and learn to use it to help you be more effective in your work. Okay, I hope that answered your question, Moshe. Okay, so the last thing I want to wish you is good luck, and I want to show you a short movie that summarizes everything I said. And while you will watch the movie, I will send you also the link to the website that I mentioned where you can find companies.
Successful companies are really only successful if they have successful customers. That's why we have an entire team focused on customer success.
Adobe Customer Success Managers spend their time dedicated to help creating a great customer experience and helping those customers see the defined outcomes that they were expecting when they brought the Adobe solutions.
As a CSM, I'm responsible for the customer from day one, and then I try to establish a really intense working relationship with the customer quickly. I wear a lot of different hats during this time as well.
I am a strategic planner, I'm an advisor, I am a cheerleader in some days, just making sure that we're rallying the troops to move in the right direction.
I am the Adobe point person, and because it's my job to make sure that they get everything that they've paid for and more, I am deeply invested. I always think creatively and look to take things a step further because I am responsible for achieving ROI that gets CFOs doing backflips.
We've been working with customers and leading them through this transformational journey for a long time. And through that experience, we've really identified 3 guiding principles by which we measure success:
Partnership, adoption, and value.
So first and foremost, we're partners, and partnership is all about a relationship of trust. So it's really about understanding the customers, their issues and their goals, where they want to go with our software, and then define a strategic plan together with them, where we define milestones, KPIs, and this is how we measure success.
So with the partnership groundwork laid, that's where adoption comes in. And adoption is so much more than the initial rollouts. It's about making sure that everyone is engaged. And we want to make sure that the customer is getting everything that they need to be set up for success, whether it's hearing about best practices with other clients and customers, or from product experts, webinars, whatever it may be. The customer success manager makes sure that the client is getting what they need to be set up for success.
Our third guiding principle is value realization. At the end of the day, it's about helping my customers not only get more out of the solutions, but ultimately the most out of their partnership with Adobe. If we agree on what success looks like up front, we can set goals, put measurable KPIs in place so that when we move the needle, I know that we're delivering ROI. I know that we're delivering value.
Success with our solutions can literally change an entire business. And the CSMs do such important work. It's almost impossible to describe what they do in just one word.
Just one word.
Acrobat, actually.
Quarterback comes to mind.
Orchestrator, conductor, fantastic.
Rockstar. Wait, that's 2 words?
Therapist?
Transformer.
I'd say mediator.
I got it. Superhero.
Can you recommend CSM courses? Yes, 1 second, I'll explain. What is the range for basic salary without bonus for CSM positions in big high-tech company, and are the difference between retention and the rest when the positions are divided? Okay, great, very good question. So regarding CSM courses, there are a few. I personally, I'm a lead lecturer in a Jolt company. Did you hear about Jolt? Jolt is one of the companies that provide this kind of courses. Because I'm the lead lecturer there, I can tell you that it's good because I lecture there, but there are a few schools in Israel that do it. I don't know if it's always necessary to take a course. Depending on your previous experience and what you bring to the table, it might not be necessary to take a course. If you want to consult with me privately, you can contact me. By the way, you have here my email, and you can contact me also via LinkedIn. You're welcome to connect with me. So if you want to consult specifically about your experience, you're welcome to reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you. So that's regarding CSM courses. By the way, there is a lot of information on LinkedIn and the internet and there are many, many tools for customer success. Also on their websites, you can find a lot of webinars and videos. You can learn a lot from about the terminology in the CSM world and so on. What I also wanted to recommend you is that there are 2 Facebook groups in Israel for CSMs. You're welcome to join them. And there you will see a post of, every month there is a post about new positions, open positions for you. If you're seeking for a job, then you can find them. There are new positions for CSMs. I recommend you to connect to this group, and you will find there a lot of information regarding answers about the range of the salary. The salary is changing these days because of the situation. I will give you what I know at this point. If it's a junior position, it will be around 12,000 shekels, and it will go up. If you're working for a bigger company and you have more experience, it can go up to 30, 34, 35,000. It really depends on how much experience you have and the size of the company. The salaries went a little bit down in the last year because of the situation. So it depends again. I can try to find there is a salary survey that I think they ran it a month ago. I will try to find it. Thank you, guys. Good luck to everyone. And again, if you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me.